Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about the 5 things you should know about neuroplastic symptoms, meaning brain-created symptoms. So, quick micro meditation, slow your breath, slow your thinking, slow your thoughts, drop the shoulders, smile, hand on the heart. Keep doing that. So, the 5 things I want you to know about brain-created neuroplastic mind-body symptoms. First of all, the symptoms are real. They're not imaginary. Some people talk about fake symptoms. They're fake symptoms. They're not real. But they are, because if you can feel them, they're real. Symptoms are real. They're just not caused by what sometimes the doctors and even we think they're being caused by. Most of us feel like I've got something wrong with my body. I'm sick, I've got a disease, I've got a faulty body part, a tear, herniation, bulge, something wrong with my back or my sacrum or my knee or whatever it may be. The symptoms are very real. They're just created by a brain perceiving danger and not necessarily a flaw in the body or an illness. Second of all, your brain is not out to get you. A lot of people use language like, my brain is doing this to me, or I don't understand why my brain is doing this. And they think their brain is an adversary working against them. And it's not. And number 5, I'll get to what the brain's actually doing. But your brain is not out to get you. It's your best friend. And you may not think that, but stick with me. Third thing, you're not crazy. You're not nuts. We may feel that way. And sometimes when you hear that my brain is creating symptoms, it's very easy to go, well, I must be crazy. What's wrong with me? I don't know anybody else that has this. What's wrong with me? I must be nuts. I must be crazy. Nope, nope, and nope. You're human. You're not crazy. The other thing, number 4, this is not your fault. You're not doing this to yourself. This is not something you wanted or wished upon yourself. It's not due to some mistake of yours. And if you look back and go, boy, if I only knew what I know now, this wouldn't have happened. So it is my fault. No, it's not. You didn't know about this stuff before. So how can you blame yourself for something you didn't know? It wasn't available. It wasn't in your, on your radar, so to speak. So none of this stuff is your fault. It's not due to some flaw in who you are as a person. It's where you ended up. It's not your fault. And number 5, and this is kind of the follow-on to number 2, your brain is not out to get you. Number 5, your brain is actually doing its job. When we look at the role of the brain from the time we were conceived and growing brain cells in our mother's wombs, the brain's primary job and responsibility was survival, safety. And so that's why the concept of perceived danger causing symptoms or pains makes so much sense. Because since the brain is always going to continue to do its job, it will sound the warning signals when it perceives danger. That's just the brain doing its job. The cool part is, once we understand how the system works and we assess whether or not there's true, legitimate, real danger. I broke a leg, for example, versus I don't know why my back's hurting all of a sudden out of nowhere. Different scenarios. One is acute pain from injury. The other is mind-body symptoms, neuroplastic pain caused by brain perceiving danger. And I like to view it kind of as a false alarm, but it's not always apparent. So that's why we have to do some assessments, which I talk about every day. I've been talking about them past couple days. But your brain is doing its job. So things like symptoms, pains, other symptoms that we have, whether it be digestive, dizziness, reflux, pains, numbness, weakness, those things. The symptoms are the brain doing its job. And so are things like mental health, anxiety, depression. The brain's doing its job. It's trying to keep us safe. And oh, by the way, all of those negative thoughts that are like, well, what if it's something real? What if I am broken? What if I don't get better? What if, what if, what if? Even those thoughts are your brain doing its job. You're not doing anything wrong. You've just got a brain that's on high alert, highly vigilant, and it's looking to do its job. So the cool part is, once we understand how this all works, we can start to begin moving in the direction of reversing all of this stuff. Because if the brain can turn on these symptoms, it can turn them off, simply put. And if the brain is turning on these symptoms based on the perception of danger, we can assess to see if the danger is actual or not. And when I talk about danger, I don't mean like universally, like the politics crazy and is the world feeling less safe than it was when we were kids. That's not what I mean. In the areas that we, I guess, control or influence, our self, our health, our mindset, our mentality, in those areas that we are directly in control of, if we can feel safer mentally, emotionally, physically, how we treat ourselves, how we respond to symptoms, engaging more in life, we have a really, really good opportunity to influence these symptoms to go away. So, what are these 5 things? Your symptoms are real, not imaginary. Your brain is not out to get you. You're not crazy. It's not your fault. Your brain is just doing its job. I'd like to think that your brain and nervous system is working perfectly, because a lot of people talk about, my nervous system is so dysregulated. Yeah, and what's the main control center for that nervous system? Your brain. And if the brain's been perceiving danger and on high alert for much of your life, that high state of vigilance is going to cause it to potentially and falsely perceive different things to be dangerous. And it's our job to say, no, it's really not dangerous. Like in my case, my onset of back pain started bending over to put on my underwear. You know what? For the next 13 years, I was worried about bending over to put on my underwear. My brain was perceiving danger by doing something as harmless as bending over. The body was designed to bend over. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had that flexibility in our backs and in our hips and our legs and everything else. So it was my responsibility to teach my overprotective brain that this thing it had been perceiving as dangerous for so long was not truly dangerous. And I think it's important to teach our brain that emotions are not dangerous, our thoughts are not dangerous, our physical body is not in danger. Again, once we've done the assessments, and if we can treat ourselves with more compassion and kindness, there will be less danger there, because if we're beating ourselves up and judging and criticizing ourselves, that's not exactly a safe feeling. How we respond to symptoms, we can either panic or we can reassure. Panic, we're reinforcing the brain's perception of danger and likely to keep things going. When we can calmly reassure because we've got the assessments and the clarity as to what's going on, guess what? Now we can respond in such a way that creates safety, not danger. Re-engaging in life, even with symptoms, is showing the brain, I'm good. I'm good enough to go to the grocery store. I'm good enough to go to a friend's house. I'm good enough to go on holiday. I'm safe enough. And that creates safety and neutralizes the brain's perception of danger. It's all about mindset, folks. The mentality that says, I'm really not broken. And I call that the holy crap moment. Holy crap. I'm really okay. That's a wonderful moment. And I encourage you to seek that out with clarity, with certainty as to what's going on. And look, the assessment is there, but start to look for examples in your own lived experience that you're actually okay. Hey, you know what? I had a day with no symptoms. Holy crap, I'm really okay. The fact that they came back is not proof that you're not. It's just proof that the brain is still perceiving some danger and the symptoms came back. So look for examples and evidence and proof that you're okay. Look for examples where a calm response to symptoms increasing caused them to settle back down much quicker than they would have when you panicked in the past. So, these 5 things about mind-body symptoms, neuroplastic symptoms, perceived danger symptoms. 1, the symptoms are real, not imaginary, they're not fake. They're just not caused by what you think. 2, the brain is not out to get you. 3, you're not crazy. 4, it's not your fault. And 5, your brain is doing its job. It's our job to use our cognitive, intelligent thinking brain to teach it so that it makes a different decision about whether or not these alarms, these false alarms, need to be turned on or not. So, I'm going to wrap it up here. Hope everybody is doing well and had a wonderful weekend. Happy Monday, and I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Love you, folks. Take care.